Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. Joseph Perry. We used to sing that in Girl Scouts.
Yeah, that's where I learned it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Terri Gillespie here, and welcome to A2A, Author to Author with Terri. And I am so excited because this month's featured author is best-selling and award-winning author Carrie Turansky, and even more, she's a very, very dear friend. So she's off in the wings, and so that I can do a little bit of housekeeping. And essentially, that is to like, comment, and share and subscribe. And we can make a difference in getting Carrie's newest book, A Token of Love, some loving. And just let the people know out there in YouTube land that this is an incredible author and a beautiful book. So, and down below in the description section, there are going to be all sorts of great links that are going to be very helpful in enjoying this interview and the giveaway. So, you ready to meet this inspiring author and my friend? Let's welcome Carrie Turansky.
Hi, Terri, and hi, friends. So happy to be here with you today.
We're so glad you're here, Carrie.
Hey, me too. Always great to talk to you, Terri, and always great to connect with friends who love reading like we do.
Yeah. So, how long have we known each other?
Wow, that's a great question. Probably about 20 years, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I was trying to think when you were overseeing the Philadelphia group.
Yeah, so that was like the mid 2005-ish time, I think, right around there.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So it's almost 20 years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, pretty
Pretty
close.
amazing. Yeah. So, Carrie, you are a successful author, a very busy pastor's wife. How can my readers and my viewers keep in touch with you?
Well, I love to connect with friends, reading friends especially. So I have a website, which is just my name, carrieturansky.com. And if you visit the website, you'll see right on the homepage, you can scroll down and I have a free short story for you called Keeper of Her Heart when you sign up for my email newsletter, which goes out just about once a month, maybe a little more often around the release of a new book, like the one that's coming out in September. And I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. Those are my two fun areas on social media to connect with reading friends. So you'll probably see me there. But my website has a blog and it has photos from my research trips. It has some fun recipes from the books and, of course, information about each one of the books. And then the link then for your free short story there. So I hope you'll visit my website.
And you use Pinterest a lot. You have a lot of storyboards and things like that.
I do, yeah. For each one of my books, I have a special board where I collect images of the characters and the setting, and then background information like links to research. So I use that a lot. Like when we're going to make the cover, I'll be able to look back in there and send those ideas to the cover designer with the characters and the setting, that kind of thing. So, and it's fun just to be inspired by those. I'm a real visual kind of a person. I was an art major in college, so the visual is always important for me. So I do like to create those Pinterest boards. And even besides writing, I have some for cooking and gardening and all kinds of craft things and things about faith and parenting and all different kinds of topics. So that's a fun place I like to go to.
Yeah, you have a beautiful garden. You really do.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
flowers. Yeah, I just remember that. Uh, well, in the blog interview, we'll have some different questions that I asked Carrie, and the links down below will be in the description section. And Carrie, your newest book released yesterday, A Token of Love, and it was a powerful story. It just sometimes even difficult to read, which I love books like that because they really get me to think and they really get me to see things in a different way. And I always love your tender and compassionate approach to your character development. It's you just have a very, I don't know how to describe it. It's just kind of a unique, very caring, compassionate way of handling your characters. You don't, they go through the paces, they go through difficult times, but you do it in a compassionate way, which makes me feel safe when I read your books. So, as I mentioned in my top picks for August, this book deals with a very important subject matter, and that's human trafficking. So, could you share a little bit what inspired you to write on this subject?
Sure. Whenever I'm going to start a new book, I do quite a bit of research into what's happening in the culture and that time and place where I'm going to be setting the story. So I was looking into Victorian England, and I especially like to look for Christians and find out who were the Christians who were actively putting their faith into their life and doing something to help others. So I found a lady, an actual woman in history there. Her name was Josephine Butler, and she had a very strong faith, and she was an activist who was trying to change the laws that would protect women and girls so that they could not be taken advantage of or misused in any way. And she would speak publicly, giving speeches. She wrote pamphlets, she wrote articles. And when she would give her speeches publicly, it was very dangerous. There was a lot of opposition to her and the women that would go with her, and they were like chased down sometimes and everything. But she was very brave. And I was just so inspired by her life that I thought, to have a character like that. So that's kind of the inspiration for the older sister in the story, in the historical plot, who is looking for her niece who's been abducted from the Foundling Hospital. And I actually put Josephine Butler in there as a small minor character to be with the sisters and help them as they're publicly trying to speak out and rescue some of these little girls who've been taken away. So it is a tough topic and not one I would usually, write about, but I try to do it, like you said, in a sensitive way and in a way that offers hope and hopefully inspires people to just be aware of some of the dangers that are out there and what could we do to help women and girls to be protected even today. And in the contemporary story, I bring that in a little bit too. In doing research for human trafficking, I read online the different ways that some of these people work to try to start online relationships, especially with young girls and young teens. So I use that in the story. And hopefully I have teen readers. I'm thinking maybe it would maybe even protect some of them to be more aware about online relationships, just to be cautious and careful about that and not believe everything, that it's just exactly like it is if it's someone you don't really know or that kind of thing. So anyway, it is a tough topic, but hopefully I handle it in a sensitive way that would make readers feel safe and still enjoy the story and want to be inspired by it.
Yeah. I think it's really important because when we're aware of things like that, it's like after 9/11, everybody said, be aware of the things that are going on around you. And there are actually hand signals that it's important to teach our children that if someone is taking them, that they can do this. And it's, doesn't have to be that obvious. But if we watch for something like that, then we know that we need to intervene. And normally we wouldn't intervene between what we would think is a father and a daughter. But if we see that, we have to intervene. So I think books like yours are so important to make us aware that this is going on. And it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I read the first paragraph of The Token of Love on my Top Picks episode. But as always, viewers just love hearing the author read their own words. So would you like to read something for us?
Sure. I'll continue just a little past where you read. In the first chapter, our historical heroine Lillian receives a message, and it's kind of an unexpected message. So I'll just pick up there.
Okay.
Lillian tore open the envelope and took out the folded piece of paper. Her eyes darted from her name at the top to the signature at the bottom. It read, "Forever your loving sister, Serena." She gasped and sank into the nearest chair. It had been almost 9 years since she'd heard from her sister. Serena had run away with a soldier named Robert Dunsmore, and she was only 17, bringing deep heartache to Lillian and their widowed mother. They had no idea where she'd gone and had only received one brief note 5 months after she left, announcing the birth of her daughter Alice. Painful memories washed over Lillian, bringing a wave of regret. She should have done more to find her sister and bring her home. Ripping the letter, she scanned the words written in a shaky hand. "Dear Lillian, I know it has been many years since I've written, and I'm sorry for that. I ask for your forgiveness. I hope you'll come to me now despite my past mistakes, for I fear I am not long for this world." Lillian lifted her hand to her heart. How could her little sister be dying? Serena was only 26 years old. "There is much I want to explain, but more important than explanations, I need your help to reclaim my daughter Alice. I had no choice but to turn her over to the Foundling Hospital when she was only 3 months old. She is now almost 8, and you must reclaim her soon, or I'm afraid she'll be sent out to apprentice as a domestic and will not be able to find her. I know I should have reached out to you and Mother sooner, but I was so ashamed of what I've done. I couldn't face the thought I couldn't, excuse me, face you after the hurt I've caused. I told myself Robert would return and we would collect Alice and be a happy family. But months and then years passed. Robert has not been faithful to me. He left us to fend for ourselves. I had to go into service to support myself and give my darling little daughter away. Hardship and illness have followed me all these years, and I've never been able to reclaim her. In these last few weeks, my health has taken a turn, and I've been so ill I've not been able to work or rise from my bed. The money is gone. My few friends have turned away. I'm afraid I won't recover. Will you come and let me make amends before it is too late? I pray you can find it in your heart to visit me. Then I hope you will go to the Foundling Hospital, reclaim Alice, and give her the home and life that she deserves. Please come quickly. Forever, your loving sister, Serena."
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's the setup for the story, for her to have to try to rescue this little niece. It
You
won't
know,
be as just going to reclaim her.
so since it's really early in the book, it doesn't work out that way, does it? And that's where the token comes from, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. Some of these mothers would leave some kind of a small identifier, like a little thimble or a piece of jewelry or a coin. And that was so that if their situation changed, they might be able to go back and reclaim and identify their baby as being their own child. So that's where the tokens come from. And today in London, there is a foundling museum, and they have a lot of these tokens on display. And earlier this year, my husband and I were able to take a trip there and to go to the museum and see all the tokens and so much more about just the story of the different children and mothers and the history of the Foundling Hospital. It was really, really interesting. So I'm so glad I got to go.
It's fascinating, and it's interesting that you can have a an institution that is helping people, but how people can take advantage of that and use it for ill gains.
Yes.
And yeah,
Mhm.
well,
Well, I did fictionalize that part. There were young girls who were disappearing in London in that time in 1885. And there is a journalist like my historical hero who was looking into that, investigating it, and writing a series of articles. But they were not disappearing from the Foundling Hospital. That part is fictional. I brought those two things together because I found the Foundling Hospital first, and then I found the journalist, and he was also a man of faith, a really strong activist trying to change the laws. And then Josephine Butler, they were friends. And so that's how it all wove together. So that's a little bit of a fictional stretch there. And I do make that clear in the author notes in the back that the Foundling Hospital has a wonderful history. There were some children who ran away, but I don't know of any that were ever actually abducted from there.
hmm hmm Oh, well, thank you for writing such an important book, Carrie.
Oh,
It's
thanks, Terry.
so, what are you working on now?
Well, I'm working on a new historical romance series. Of course, I'm staying in England because that's the kind of books that I write. My last 9 books are all set in different areas of England. This one is going to be up in Yorkshire, and it's called The Lost Treasures of Yorkshire is the series title. And then the first book is called Echoes Across the Moors. And so it's a story about 3 sisters who've lost their parents at kind of during their teenage years, and then in their 20s, a great uncle leaves them an estate with a crumbling old manor house up in Yorkshire. So uh, they go to Yorkshire, and the oldest sister is kind of the focus in this first book, and she wants to be a novelist, and she loves the Bronte sisters' novels. And so the treasure that they actually find in the first book is a photograph that in the back it's 3 women, and it says on the back that these are the Bronte sisters. And yet there was a debate about if there was really actually a photograph of them, because 2 of the sisters died in 1848 and 49 when photography was very young. And then Charlotte Bronte died just a few years later. So there was questions. There's actually a photograph likeness that I saw on, I think, YouTube. And there's a big debate about, could it really be the Bronte sisters? And there's people have done all kinds of research about it. So I was going to just use that idea of them finding this photograph and try to tie it into the Bronte's writing. It's set in that area. So it's kind of fun. I'm just getting started. I'm just about 20,000 words into this story. So I'm just kind of learning and exploring and figuring out what's going on there. But it's been fun, and I like that all creatures great and small. That kind
Yeah.
of think about that area too. It was so beautiful there. I thought that's another area I'd love to focus on and set a story in. So that's what I'm working on.
And this is historical. Is it going to be Edwardian era or
It's going to be 1910 is when the first book is set.
okay? And so there'll be a 3 book for each
I
one
hope
of the
it'll be a
sisters.
3-book series. Yeah, and each one will feature a different sister, and each one finds a different treasure. And the treasures come from actual things that I found online. One sister finds an old sewing box that has fabric and beads that are from Princess Charlotte's wedding dress, which is one of the oldest wedding dresses still on display in England. And then the other sister finds a ring in the stream. And there's a lady now in England who has a really nice Instagram, who goes around and finds all these treasures in the stream. She pulls out all these amazing things. And I thought, oh, she found a ring. What could that be? So the third sister is going to find a ring, and it's going to lead us on a story there
Oh,
too.
fun, fun. I
It's
love the
fun.
idea of them going to an old dilapidated.
Uh, and the uncle made a stipulation in his will that they have to live there for 1 year. They can't just sell the property, and he's forcing them to come there. Hopefully that they will learn to love the estate as much as he loved it. But of course, there's going to be someone who doesn't want them to stay and would like to have a claim on the property. So there's kind of a secret part to a mystery there of who's trying to keep them discouraged and wanting them to go back to London instead of staying on the estate. So that's kind of fun too.
Well, I'll read that.
Thanks. Good. I'll sign you up.
Yay. So, as I mentioned earlier, the A2A interview blog has a lot of fascinating information about Carrie and some photos of some of her reading friends. And but for these YouTube videos, I like to do something a little bit different. So one of the things I ask Carrie is, what is something about you that people might not know?
That's a good question. Well, when I was in high school, I was very involved in drama, and I had, kind of never had a starring role, but had kind of middle secondary roles in several plays, and I always enjoyed that, and also took part in the stage crew too in different plays. And it was fun because you got to take on a role and be someone different than you are. And there's also a bond that you develop with people when you work together on a project like that. And you're in front of an audience and you want it all to come off just right. So that was a lot of fun. And it kind of helped me too as I develop characters now as I'm writing. I think back on some of the training that we had in drama and how, you characterize, you bring that character to life kind of a thing. So that's kind of a fun thing from the past people might not know about me.
Yeah, and I know that you've taken the kids to see Sight and Sound
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
Lancaster.
That's been fun. Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
we took our grandkids there and even my younger grandkids, we took them to a local play, a children's theater play, and they loved it. And the actors were so kind. They were involving the children, and afterwards they let them come
Oh,
up on.
nice.
We took pictures.
Nice. Well, I remember when you, Kathy Golke, and I went to this Sight and Sound. That was the first time I'd ever gone
Oh,
to, yeah. And that it was impressive because it's like a 360 experience. You're just looking everywhere at all the different things that are going on. It's just
pretty
amazing.
amazing. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, I've been to Broadway plays and I feel like it's that scale or even better. So it's a lot of fun. And I hear they have it out in another area besides Pennsylvania. I can't remember now exactly where it is, but there's another Sight and Sound that they have out there. I think
Oh,
Midwest Southish place.
hmm.
I can't remember exactly where it is, but
I'll
it's
have to look that up.
Mhm.
Well, on that note, Carrie will be giving away a signed copy of A Token of Love.
Yes, ma'am.
And hey, thanks for putting me in the dedication.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun outfit.
Yeah, it was. She wrote dedication to my silver friends, Lisa and Renee, and my gold friends, Kathy, Terri, Cher, and Ann. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. Joseph Perry. We used to sing that in Girl Scouts.
Yeah, that's where I learned it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Carrie's going to be giving away a signed copy. Now, are you able to sign to the person? Or
I'd be happy to do that. Sure.
awesome. Okay. We'll make sure that we let them know, the winner know that. Um, and the way to enter, they're actually up to 6 entries that you can have, and you'll learn the details down in the description section and also in the blog. But essentially, if you like, comment, share, and subscribe, it puts you in those extra entries. Now, the drawing will be held Friday, September 13th, which I'll be on my way, moving away from Georgia.
Oh,
Um, and if you're already a subscriber to the YouTube channel and to my newsletter, as long as you comment and like and share, you'll get those extra entries. One caveat, and that is that entries are for the contiguous US. Can't go outside like Alaska. Hawaii. You used to live in Hawaii.
Yes, we did for 8 years.
So, Carrie, do you have any final words before we sign off?
Well, I'm just grateful, Terri, to be able to have a little time with you, and then also for this chance to just talk to some reading friends and stay connected with people and share a little bit more about A Token of Love, because I'm excited about the story and seeing it going out this week.
So, thanks so much for watching the 45th interview episode. And one last reminder to check out the description section down below. Also, I have Carrie's and my social media links as well. So we always appreciate the likes, follows, and subscribes. Also, where to buy Carrie's books. And next month, the A2A featured author will be DiAnn Mills. And if you are a suspense and thriller fan, you're probably familiar with DiAnn Mills. And I'm reading her newest release that's coming out the same day as yours, or came out the same day as yours yesterday. And I think it's one of her best ones. It's pretty intense at many levels. So, viewers, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. You could be doing all sorts of other things, so we really appreciate you watching. And look forward to seeing you next month. And in the meantime, God bless and keep
Reading.
reading.